Yeah, no, in all seriousness, not that I want to talk about length, but it's I don't think they should ever be this long. It's too much. It's too much. Consumers don't want it.
Crazy.
If you love Sarah J. Maas or Rebecca Yarros, then you will love this. Where have I heard that before? Oh yes, the blurb of Shield of Sparrows, also by Devney Perry. The five kingdoms of the mythical realm of Calandra are in mortal peril. Our main character, Odessa, has been separated from the love of her life, Ransom, and forced to survive a gauntlet of tragedies, including being hunted by monsters and kidnapped by a priest. The sequel to Shield of Sparrows promises a return to some of our favourite characters from the original, along with an angsty, yearny, slow-burny romance subplot, all culminating in a reveal said by one reviewer to be so shocking that after she finished the book, she simply closed it and sat in silence for 10 minutes.
Crazy.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that a character we thought was good actually turns out to be evil or something. What else could it be, right? As I never get tired of saying, I have my own problems with fantasy and romantasy, mainly because nothing is ever new and everything has been done years before I was even born, but I'm still inclined to give books like this a fair shot.
So in with this slow burn ants,
Yeah.
as I called it.
Oh, that's a good one.
You said that last time as well.
Did I?
Well, I did say I rewatched the video that we did on
Fair
Shield of Sparrows, and I accidentally said slow burn ants, and you said I like that. I'm gonna
Nah,
use
you're
it. So yes,
sticking
so with slow burn ants like this, did you read the plot before you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay, so
That's the only reason I knew it was a Shield of Sparrows sequel. If I didn't, I would have gone in blind.
Oh, because I just automatically assumed it would be. I mean, it had
That
the same
probably would have been
characters,
smart.
but
That
this
probably would
doesn't
have
fit.
been
It doesn't start off where the last one left off.
I don't think
which
so.
doesn't make any sense because the last one ended on a cliffhanger with Ransom's mother dying and this, that, and the other, and some. Yeah, so it didn't make any sense why it did what it did. But what did you think of the book?
Who says sequels have to start right where the first one left off, I guess?
Yeah,
No one
but you
says
would
that,
expect
right?
that. No?
You would
Pause
expect
this
it.
video right now. Go and read Rites of Starling by.
Devney Perry. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because I'm going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library. And I guess I'm going, since you're going to tell them all about it. But no, in all seriousness, why is she just going to name all of her books after birds then? Is that her thing? Like, this is what I'm saying about fantasy. You would think I really do love fantasy, and I do love watching some fantasy shows, reading some fantasy books, but largely I find the genre very, very cringy, especially romantasy as well, because you just naming your books after birds. You think I wasn't going to notice?
Yeah. Yeah. You better
Yeah,
go
I'm gonna
first.
go first. I don't remember Shield or Sparrows having a particularly memorable cast. Perhaps that is because I read it so long ago, but I do remember liking Odessa. Yes, you can say that she is the typical romantasy female main character in a lot of ways, but in a rare act of fairness towards women. What I will say is that if you want totally original, realistic, non-cringe female main characters, then romantasy is not the genre for you. Odessa spends a lot of the first book being weak, helpless, and the world's worst spy, which sets the stage for her to grow into her own as a warrior in the second book, which I'm looking forward to. Maybe one day she can even be as annoying as Violet Sorrengail. Not to put pressure on her though, because Violet is up there.
Insufferable.
Insufferable is the perfect word.
Let me go. This book manages something quite rare. It's both incredibly long and almost entirely uneventful at the same time. And I don't say that lightly. We're talking hundreds of pages where you're actively waiting for something meaningful to happen, and it just doesn't. In a standalone, that would already be a problem. But in a sequel, where the world stakes and characters should already be established, it becomes almost unforgivable. You've already done the heavy lifting as a reader. You understand the rules, the setting, the dynamics, so naturally, you would expect this book to build on that foundation and move forward with purpose. Instead, Rites of the Starling feels like it's stalling for time, stretching moments that should take pages into chapters, and chapters into entire sections of the book. What makes it worse is how it disguises that lack of progression on the surface. How it disguises that lack of progression. On the surface, things are happening. conversations, internal thoughts, shifting emotions, but none of it actually pushes the plot forward in a meaningful way. It reads far more like a drawn-out romance than an epic fantasy. It creates this strange imbalance where the story feels both bloated and empty at the same time. Fantasy should feel like a journey. You should feel like you're traveling, discovering, building towards something. Here it feels like you're stuck in one place, being told you're moving forward when clearly you're not. I'm proud to say it, but I DNF'd the book, which is quite an achievement. I don't typically DNF books. It's very strange because the first book was written using a stereotypical winning formula, but this has no resemblance. I think he's shooting himself in the foot. I'm pretty sure all the women like Joseph were lost in over ransom. Was he even in the book?
Barely.
So I'm curious, do you think this was a deliberate slow burn approach that just didn't land, or do you think this book genuinely lacks enough story to justify its length? I think a story always I know you're going to say, it always lacks enough to justify its length, which is what your missus says to you, I'm sure. That's what all this attitude was about.
100%. But, yeah, no, in all seriousness, not that I want to talk about length, but I don't think they should ever be this long. It's too much. It's too much. Consumers don't want it.
Crazy.
But yeah, no, I can't say it justified it. That's a good point, to be fair. At least if you use a winning formula, something that's been tried and tested. I mean, I won't add points on or anything if you use a tried and tested formula, but at least I could be like, okay, you thought you were cooking because
no, but you would
before.
assume because he had she, I should say, had such a success with the first book, you think she would just continue on that same thing, and just rake in the money. But this time, it's just been even more slow paced and boring.
I think it's really difficult. Well, it's really difficult for me to like get into this story and actually figure out what it's actually about. Whereas other romantic series, is things like Fourth Wing, they may not be the greatest, but it's
they
a
got
very
some
clear
action
idea.
scenes.
There's action, and it's a very clear idea
on.
about what it's actually about.
Exactly.
Whereas this is just, fancy names, fantasy places, things I can't pronounce, things I don't know where they are. There's no map in the beginning of the book as well, which I thought was a disgrace. Any fancy author worth their salt knows
Really?
got to have the map in the beginning.
Okay.
So I know where everything is.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, no. Devney Perry introduces a new main character, Caspia. Wonder where she got that from. Herein lies my problem with reading fantasy. Largely, it's all the same stuff. Obviously, Caspian from Chronicles of Narnia. That's a very subjective problem, in my opinion. Not everybody has to be bothered by this. So we are learning all about Caspia and her struggle to perform a ritual that will make her a Starling. I understand that Starling is a bird, and it's totally not new to name characters after birds, but since I bank with Starling, I just keep thinking of the bank whenever I hear or see the word. I might call it Rites of the Monzo.
I didn't even think
Early prediction time. Odessa and Caspia will end up as rivals for Ransom's affections. Isn't that what they always do with the female characters?
How wrong you are.
How wrong I was.
So yeah, I think I would have rather that. You're gonna get Jeopardy. You won't be bored.
That's true. No, that's absolutely true. I would have been fine with that. I would have been absolutely fine with it. And maybe part of me predicted it because it's what I wanted to see. I said I wanted to see them fight over
and then you know who Ransom would have picked. Both.
As he should have.
The pacing issues are only amplified by the book's structure, which at times feels like it's actively working against the reader rather than with them. One of the biggest problems is the introduction of new POV chapters without proper grounding, notably Caspia. We're dropped into her perspective with very little context, no strong reason to care, no immediate connection to the main narrative, and instead of adding depth, it creates distance in a well-executed multi-POV fantasy. Each perspective should add a new layer, offering insight or tension that enriches the whole. Here, it often feels like filler, something to pad out a book rather than alleviate it. Every time the story shifts, it feels like you're being pulled away from what little momentum has been built, forcing you to reset and re-engage all over again. What exactly is it that the author's asking me to re-engage with? Caspia and Andreas? No, thank you. This couple are the king and queen of insta-love. I don't get it. What's the point of having a slow burn book, slow burn-ants, if the romance is instantaneous? So as I mentioned before, I DNF'd the book. So it was as I was searching through the reviews, I learned that it's revealed that Caspia is Odessa's mother. I suppose, as twists go, that's not bad. But I
Not
don't
bad
know
at
if
all.
that information should have been a twist in the first place. That information should have been used to keep us engaged. Knowing that fact could have made us care about Caspia. The way the book was written, I was disengaged rather than intrigued. So I genuinely don't know what the author was playing at. Does he think he's gracing us with an undeserved prequel in the midst of an undeserved second book, undeserved sequel?
He's doing us a favour.
Yeah, I genuinely think that this book shouldn't have been written. Definitely not as the second installment. Prequels are usually written as book 4 or 5, not book 2.
Yeah.
So what do
true.
you think about that author made that decision?
The funniest
Why do you think
part
they made that
is-
decision?
Yeah, it's a good question. The funniest part is I don't even totally disagree with the whole Caspia as Odessa's mother thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid.
But you got to
twist,
build
I
the
guess.
fan base. You got to make us care.
Exactly. Not only that, but it's like I think he relied on the reveal doing a lot of heavy lifting for the book that I don't think it did.
Yeah,
And he was
exactly.
like, he
And
put
we
his
had to
eggs in
wait
one-
so long for that payoff. I
Yeah.
stopped reading before we even got there.
And if you stopped reading before you got there, then loads of other people stopped reading.
Cause, yeah,
before they
exactly.
got there.
Because I soldier on, you know.
Exactly.
I keep
We're-
going.
First of all, we're not even doing this for personal enjoyment. We're doing this for this. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like people do it for personal enjoyment. Don't close it. There's absolutely no downside,
Exactly.
whatever. But yeah, I think I agree with you. If we knew that was the mother from day one, then it's like, oh, okay, well, there's
Yeah.
a connection to the main story.
Exactly.
Now we can actually care.
Or failing that, give us the goods halfway or 3/4 of a way.
Yeah,
Give us
'cause
the reason
it's got
early,
64 chapters.
right at the
Like, This is a
end.
very long book. Time to say something good. There is at least a conscious attempt from the author to give us something resembling interesting world building. The whole Rite of the Starling thing has an interesting, almost body horror component to it. With the misery of the physical toll that the Rites takes on the bodies of Caspia and Zandra, for me it feels very immersive and well done. And for me the Caspia side of the story is the more interesting one so far because of it.
Barely anything happened in Odessa side of
Yeah,
it. But then again,
exactly.
barely anything happened in Caspia side. I did think Caspia was a little bit more intriguing. Maybe it's because Odessa didn't have Ransom. So,
Yeah. So the
and
whole-
Ransom does
yeah.
is definitely, he was what made it interesting in the first place.
But yeah, no, there's no. I really can't get down with like the names. You know these classic fantasy names.
No,
with
but
this
the
all X's and
Ransom,
stuff?
you should
Ransom's
be
shocking.
You should be ashamed of
That
yourself
is
for that.
shocking. But like
Ransom.
Zandra and stuff, I'm just like, why does everybody want to use this?
Does
everyone
Zandra ever
uses
come back? Do you know? Because I know she gets killed. Well, she turns into a beast very,
I
very early.
don't know. I don't know. But
I don't know, and I
good
don't
riddance.
care.
Good riddance.
What makes all of this more frustrating is that there are clear glimpses of a better book buried underneath. You can see the outline of something compelling, an interesting world, character dynamics that could have been explored in a more meaningful way, and the potential for a real emotional payoff. I don't think the writing is bad at all. There were a few examples of creative emotion invoking writing. There was a scene where Odessa met up with the Maven, who are mercenaries she hired to bring her home safely. These big bad mercenaries were explaining to her that they are essentially enslaved by their boss and the methods that their boss uses to keep them in line. One of the mercenaries said, "He uses my mother and sister to keep me in line. I don't see them often, so at least when he threatens to kill them, I know they're still alive." And it was just like,
Disgraceful.
it was just like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean?
Bottom of the barrel stuff. He's hanging on.
yeah. So, I mean, this needs no explanation. This is the type of writing that keeps readers engaged. I can't for the life of me understand why we didn't get more of this. I rate this book 0 stars. Do you think that's unfair, or an unfair rating on the basis that I didn't finish it?
Probably. If somebody else asked me that, someone who I didn't know, I might say no, but because I know you and like you're typically a fair person when it comes to like books and stuff.
And everything.
Huh?
I'm fair on everything.
Yes, Elijah. But yeah, no, I think because you're typically a fair person, I'll probably say it's fair. And because I read the book also.
No, but
I
I
know
would
why
I would
you
argue
didn't.
I'd argue that it's automatically unfair to give a book 0 stars if you haven't read it all.
Normally, I don't even know if I would agree with that.
Really?
No, I don't even know if I would agree with that. Not for every single book. If it's like a book where it's like halfway through it's 0 stars, and then if I read or 3/4 of the way through it's 0 stars, I read the last quarter, it's 4 stars. That means it's not a good book.
Yeah, but it's not 0 books either.
It's not a 0 book totally, but
Yeah.
it's not a good book. So it's like, it's not
Yeah.
unfair to give it a low rating or a poor rating. Maybe
0
0
though.
is unfair.
That's why I'm saying
Maybe 0
0
is an unfair score, but now we're, you know, the idea of rating a book before you finish it is sound in principle. We're just haggling over the number that you chose, which is why I say it's probably, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fair enough.
Give it a 1 or whatever it is.
1, 0 doesn't matter anyway.
Just
Still
make it 0.
shit.
Just make it 0.
Yeah.
-1. Should we start doing minus ratings for that?
Yeah, but when we start doing that, how low can it go? Do you
That's
know what I
the
mean?
point. And then it's like, if you
It's
get,
meaningless
if
anyway.
You, do like a
you know what?
romantasy
I don't
slot,
want to read a -20 book, but I want a -10 book. Can you rate me something? It's like what?
If you like read a romantasy slot book and give it -1, but then God of the Woods, for example, got like a 1 or a 0, that's not really fair as well, is it?
So we've got to re-rate all the ones we've done over the past 2.5 years.
Name of the Rose is definitely getting -1,000.
Good book though.
This is such a paradoxical book because it genuinely was a good book though. But
Well, it
I'd
wasn't a
never
bad
read it
book.
again.
It wasn't
I'd
a
never
bad
read it because I hated my life the whole time I was reading it.
Oh gosh.
This is either the best author ever or the worst. So Caspia is Odessa's mother. Fair enough, Devney Perry. I didn't see that coming. I'll add points on for keeping me guessing, but I'll take points off for doing this character's related to that character trope. I should also take points off for using dual timelines, especially without telling us outright. But for once, I think that was probably used to decent effect and to the benefit of the story. I appreciate the author's willingness to cull her cast as well, which we see when Andreas mercy kills his wife for the greater good.
Wait, who's his wife?
Caspia.
So
So
what?
he mercy kills Caspia at the end, yeah.
Oh wait. But Caspia is Odessa's mother. But I thought.
But she's already born. Odessa's already born. He
Oh,
mercy kills
so
her,
why does he mercy kill
She's
her?
a baby. Because there was some magic. There was some magic MacGuffin, and
Oh, okay. Well,
basically
this is
he mercy kills her.
that could have been the shock twist at the end. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
but that could have been enough because if we knew it was Caspia,
and he should just make Caspia's mum the whole way through.
and
sort of.
we would have been like, well, we know Caspia's mum's not in the in the first book. What happened? And then we can just get to it, and because I just didn't know why I was reading that.
100%.
But yes, what do you? Is that you done?
Yeah, that's me done.
So what would you rate a book out of 10, and would you recommend it? Is it an improvement on the first book?
It's tough. I don't remember how I felt reading the first book.
Yeah,
That's
the
the thing. I
first-
could
they were
reread
both-
my notes and stuff, but I'm never gonna remember how I felt reading it. I'd have to reread the whole thing, which I'm not going to do. I'm probably gonna give this a 1.
1.
I'll probably give it a 1.
So how much would you have to be paid to read the first book again?
Oh, paid?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a whole different question. Not that much.
Yeah, I mean it's a readable book.
you know what I mean? It's
I'm not
readable.
asking you to say £1 million.
Yeah, it's
I mean
readable.
just like,
But to be fair, in these questions, I always say people go way too high.
yeah,
So, for example,
yeah.
there
Even
was
if it's like
um,
liquor bin or something like that, and it's
it's so funny.
£100,000.
It's so funny you should say that because I literally asked a friend of mine. Basically, there was a.
I mean, if you're a
I
liquor
was
bin, I'd give you
cleaning-
something else to look for 100.
we was cleaning the coffee machine, and basically we've tipped the drip tray. We tipped the whole thing with the dirty brown coffee water into
Yeah.
a glass, right? So we could
Dirty brown coffee water. That sounds like coffee.
I mean, it is coffee. It literally is coffee. And I said to a colleague of mine, I said, "How much to drink this whole thing?"
The whole
Do you know what he
thing?
said to me? It was a pint glass though, but it was cold. It wasn't like nothing will happen to you. Like it will just be unpleasant. You might throw up, but nothing.
You
will happen
might
to you,
even
no
like
poison.
it.
You might even like it. I said, "How much to drink this whole thing?" And he said, "Oh, at least 100 mil." I said,
100
"You're
mil?
nuts." I said, "You're nuts." I said, "Someone puts 10k on the table right now.
I
You're
was
telling me
going to
you're
say a
not doing it."
tenner.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So
but
apparently, I always lowball these
No,
things.
50 quid, you're drinking that.
I'm
Wait,
God
nah,
already.
it's coffee though. If you strain it, because it's got bits in there. as well, it's a bit hard.
Yeah.
If you
If you
strain,
strain it, it should be fine.
Yeah,
it should literally be fine. It'd just be like cold, weak coffee.
yeah.
But
So anyway,
these people.
Back to the book.
Yeah.
How much would you have to be paid to read the first one?
I'm telling you, 20 quid. I'm doing.
20 quid.
20 quid, I'm
I
doing
was gonna say 50, 100, 50, 100 pound. I'll read it, no problem.
That's fine. That's
But
fine.
you're gonna read it again for 20 quid. I'll sort you out. I've got 20 quid in my pocket actually. On completion.
Upon completion, yeah. So you sit there and watch me do the whole thing and get to the end. Yeah, read the glossary as well.
And write some notes again.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. To be fair, that'll be the least of my worries. The hard part will be done.
Yeah.
The hard part will be done. But it's readable. These are readable books. They're not that bad. I DNF'd
this because I thought it was very, very difficult to get through. It was painful. I would say. So, as I said, I'd give it a 0, and I would not recommend it. What
Fair
about
enough.
you?
I wouldn't recommend it either. I wouldn't recommend it.
But you said a 1.
Yeah, I said a 1. Just because I would read it if I was being paid to read it, that doesn't mean I would recommend
Would you
it.
tell him to stop releasing books? I mean, money aside, if he's got enough, she's got enough, would you say, listen, it's not for you?
I would say that, but there's loads of people who would say, no, keep reading. We want to find out what happens to Odessa in the 3rd book. I have no desire to find out what happens to Odessa in the 3rd book. We probably will find out if he releases another book.
I'm telling you, when the next one comes out, because it will, I do not want to read it. We might, but I don't want to read it. I'm going to go on record.
We will if we have to.
Gun to our head.
Only if we have to.
But
Dig
yeah.
to your butt, will you read it? I saw that on Twitter. Somebody was like,
Crazy. Crazy.
But yeah, no, I would not recommend it. I'd probably give it a 1. I think, like I said, there was some decent things about it. I thought there was an interesting body horror aspect to it. And there was a conscious effort to give us something in the way of world building. So that's probably why I would give it a 1. And the twist that Caspia's Odessa's mother is not a terrible twist. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. See, but it should have been executed in a better way.
It should have, the execution left a lot to be desired. But yeah, that is me.
Yeah, that's me too, I suppose. Stay tuned. We will let you guys know ahead of time what we're reading next. No, we won't. Till next time.
Till next time.